The allure of speed. The sharp styling, the massive spoilers, the sweeping aerodynamic lines. They often trick us into believing there's a beastly powertrain lurking beneath. But appearance, my friends, can be very deceiving. A stunning design doesn't always guarantee blistering acceleration or a screaming top speed. Today, we're unmasking some automotive fibbers. These are the cars that looked far more comet-like than their actual performance numbers suggested. We're talking about machines that wore the uniform of a speed demon, but perhaps only had enough horsepower for a brisk walk. So, buckle up, as we embark on a fascinating journey through time, exploring cars that promised a sprint but delivered more of a leisurely jog. Our timeline begins in an era where style often outpaced engineering. First up, hailing from 1955, the Volkswagen Karmann Ghia. With the Beetles selling like hotcakes, Volkswagen had the means to create something more aspirational. The result was this beauty, sculpted by Ghia, presenting a truly sporty and modern silhouette. Yet, beneath that exquisite coachwork, it was at its core a Beetle. That meant sharing the Beetle's often rather sluggish propulsion, initially a mere 34 horsepower, from a 1.2-liter air-cooled four-cylinder. This translated to a glacial 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in a staggering 30 seconds. Despite this, its captivating appearance earned it cult status, and Volkswagen sold a remarkable 445,000 units over 19 years. Proof that sometimes looking good is simply enough. As the 1950s drew to a close, Renault joined the fashion parade with the Caval. They aimed to mimic the success of the Beetle and its elegant cousin, the Karmann Ghia, especially in the American market. The Caval emerged as a low-slung, rather sleek convertible. Designed by Ghia and based on the rear-engine Dauphine, its performance unfortunately fell short. Its 845 cubic centimeter engine initially produced just 37 horsepower, with even the performance version managing only 40 horsepower. Achieving 100 kilometers per hour from a standstill took over 22 seconds, with a maximum velocity of only 126 kilometers per hour. This certainly didn't appeal to American drivers accustomed to far more powerful vehicles, especially as Volkswagen consistently introduced stronger engines. Rolling into 1961, even the usually staid Volvo wanted a piece of the compact sports car pie. The stunning P1800 was their answer. However, it borrowed a four-cylinder engine more commonly found in Volvo's sedate saloons and wagons. Early versions mustered only 100 horsepower, resulting in a 0 to 100 kilometers per hour time of 13 seconds and a top speed of 169 kilometers per hour. While later iterations gained more robust engines, the P1800 gained considerable fame on screen as the cherished ride of Simon Templar, portrayed by none other than Roger Moore in The Saint. A true star, even if not a sprint king. The 1970s brought a new wave of adventurous designs, often promising exotic performance that base models rarely delivered. Consider the Porsche 914, conceived around 1969. Volkswagen desired a halo vehicle, and Porsche needed a successor to its 912. The resulting joint venture produced the 914, whose styling, with its pop-up headlamps, prominent wheel arches, and low stance, certainly hinted at aerodynamic prowess. Yet, behind the driver sat a Volkswagen-derived 1.7-liter engine, producing a mere 80 horsepower. This propelled the 914 to 100 kilometers per hour in a leisurely 13.3 seconds, topping out at 185 kilometers per hour. Later, the 914-6 variant received a more fitting six-cylinder from the 911T, boosting output to a more respectable 110 horsepower. Around 1970, Audi gave us the elegant 100 Coupe S. Its fastback-like design was undeniably appealing, and its overall presence, with four headlamps, a lengthy bonnet, and chrome accents, made it appear far more expensive than its reality. However, propulsion came from a 1.9-liter four-cylinder with just 110 horsepower, all channeled through a 3-speed automatic transmission to the front wheels. This handsome coupe lumbered from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 12.2 seconds. A beautiful car, no doubt, but not one to win drag races. Next, the Fiat X19 launched in 1972. With its flat Ferrari-esque engine cover, sculpted front fascia, and side-mounted engine air intakes, the X19 simply looked quick. Beneath that sleek body, however, was a 1.3-liter four-cylinder engine, producing 75 horsepower, pushing the 880-kilogram X19 to 100 kilometers per hour in 12.5 seconds. Fiat later updated it with a more robust 1.5-liter engine, boasting 85 horsepower, which, paired with its already taut chassis and rear-wheel drive, made it a genuine joy in the corners, even if straight-line performance remained modest. Also from 1972, and born from necessity in Brazil, was the Volkswagen SP2. Due to high import taxes, Brazil lacked sports cars, leading Vidal Brazil to develop the SP2. It boasted a luxurious interior with leather seats and a low driving position. Externally, its svelte steel body, with cutout rear vents and a long bonnet, evoked an exotic presence. Despite weighing only 890 kilograms, the SP2 was heavier than its local rival, the Puma. It was powered by a 1.7-liter engine with a mere 75 horsepower, leading to a top speed of just 161 kilometers per hour. What could have been Volkswagen's answer to the 911 in Brazil ultimately fell short due to its weak performance. Moving to 1976, we find the Lancia Scorpion. What was originally destined for Fiat ended up with Lancia. While Europe received the more potent Monte Carlo with 120 horsepower, the US market got the Scorpion, hobbled by emissions regulations, to just 81 horsepower from its 1.8-liter engine. The European version managed 100 kilometers per hour in a respectable 8.6 seconds, but the US version took a languid 13.4 seconds. Its attractive front, with a long bonnet and aggressive headlamps, certainly conveyed speed, while the rear hinted at the X19. Indeed, the Scorpion was initially designated X18. As the 1970s drew to a close, a very American icon made an appearance. The Ford Mustang King Cobra from 1978. Born from the post-fuel crisis Mustang II era, Ford aimed for fuel economy and good handling while retaining traditional Mustang styling. This meant owners could choose between an 88 horsepower 2.3-liter four-cylinder or a 105 horsepower 2.8-liter V6, replacing the old 5.0-liter V8s. The V6 option resulted in a 0 to 100 kilometers per hour time of 13 seconds and a top speed of 161 kilometers per hour. Despite its aggressive decals and aerodynamic body kit, it was more show than go. And then there was the DeLorean DMC-12, launched in 1981. Its sleek, stainless steel body and iconic gull-wing doors screamed supercar from the future, but the quest for a suitable engine proved difficult. Eventually, a 2.85-liter Peugeot V6 was chosen. With just 130 horsepower and weighing 1,230 kilograms, the DMC-12 took 10.5 seconds to reach 100 kilometers per hour. Its top speed was 209 kilometers per hour, though some sources claimed only 169 kilometers per hour. Despite its modest performance, its futuristic looks and starring role alongside Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd in Back to the Future cemented its legend, forever flying through cinematic time, if not exactly blazing across the asphalt. The Ferrari Mondial, appearing in the 1980s. In an era that gave us the stunning 308 and the mighty F40, the Mondial carried the quintessential Ferrari aesthetic. The iconic raked front, mid-mounted V8 cooling vents, and the unmistakable presence of a supercar. Upon its debut, however, its 3.0-liter V8 produced only 215 horsepower, or 205 horsepower in the US version. When this met a top speed of 225 kilometers per hour and an official 0 to 100 kilometers per hour acceleration of 8.2 seconds, though some sources cited closer to 10 seconds. While a later 3.4-liter engine boosted output to a respectable 300 horsepower, bringing the sprint time under 6 seconds, the early Mondial was a prime example of Ferrari looks with less than Ferrari thrust. As cars became more aerodynamic, the promise of speed continued to exceed the reality, even into the modern era. From 1982, the third-generation Chevrolet Camaro. This iteration boasted sleek, supercar-inspired aerodynamic lines and shared its platform with its sibling, the Pontiac Firebird. Yet, in its base form, it was offered with a 2.5-liter V6, producing just 89 horsepower, paired with a 3-speed automatic, or a 2.8-liter V6, making 107 horsepower. While buyers could opt for the more potent Z28 or IROC Z trims, the entry-level Camaro was a prime example of bold visual ambition, not quite matched by powertrain grunt. Then came the Pontiac Fiero in 1984. Its mid-engine layout and sleek profile were clearly styled to evoke images of exotic sports cars like the Toyota MR2. On paper, it seemed promising. Small, light, and with a mid-mounted engine for enjoyable handling. However, cost constraints led GM to opt for a cheaper 2.5-liter unit with a mere 93 horsepower, resulting in a 0 to 100 km per hour time of 11 seconds and a top speed of 169 km per hour. Even the GT variant, available with a stronger 2.8-liter V6, only delivered 142 horsepower. Entering the 1980s and 90s, a fascinating British kit car emerged, the Nova. It was a truly stunning machine, remarkably largely assembled by its owners due to UK tax breaks. Even more astonishingly, it was fundamentally built upon the rather mundane Volkswagen Beetle chassis. Its canopy dramatically opened, incorporating both the roof and doors, leading the uninitiated to believe it was a genuine Ferrari rival. Despite being lighter than its donor car, it inherited the Beetle's powertrains, generally delivering Beetle-like performance. This often included tricky handling due to a relatively heavy engine placed far back in a lightweight, low-slung, plastic-bodied vehicle. In 1989, the Mazda MX-5 debuted. For many, it's the quintessential affordable sports car or track day weapon, revered for its superb handling thanks to near 50-50 weight distribution and sharp steering. Introduced with a 115 horsepower naturally aspirated engine, it took just under 10 seconds to reach 100 kilometers per hour. While later versions offered a 1.8-liter engine, providing an extra 15 horsepower, these were generally considered more than enough for the MX-5 audience. However, many 1.6-liter owners famously opted for superchargers or turbochargers to unlock the hidden speed its look so compellingly promised. The Mitsubishi FTO, launched in 1994, was a sleek coupe. Without its coveted 2.0-liter V6, with 197 horsepower, the standard 1.8-liter FTO yielded only 125 horsepower. Outwardly, it possessed all the hallmarks of a sports car. Large 3000 GT-esque headlamps, an aerodynamic body, and a sophisticated spoiler. Yet its 0 to 100 km per hour sprint took 10 seconds, with a top speed of just 201 km per hour. While not poor for its time, a similarly priced Fiat Coupe with a 1.8-liter engine and 128 horsepower could hit 100 km per hour in less than 10 seconds and reach 206 km per hour. Next, the Hyundai Coupe, introduced in 1996. With its slender and athletic profile, the coupe was undeniably attractive. Aimed at a younger market seeking a desirable vehicle without hefty insurance premiums, the entry-level 1.6-liter engine produced 105 horsepower, resulting in a 0 to 100 km per hour time of 11.5 seconds and a top speed of 185 km per hour. While 2.0-liter and 2.7-liter V6 options offered more grunt, the base model proved that beauty could indeed be only skin deep in the world of acceleration. As we entered the new millennium in 1999, Toyota unveiled the 7th-generation Celica. With its low seating position, compact bonnet, and flowing lines, it began its life with just 145 horsepower from its Yamaha-derived 1.8-liter VVTi unit. It required 9 seconds to go from a standstill to 100 kilometers per hour, eventually topping out at 204 kilometers per hour. While never intended as a drag racer, the Celica was nevertheless a joy to drive and was even considered the best front-wheel drive car on the market in 1999. A case of handling prowess masking modest straight-line speed. In 2003, the Mazda RX-8 burst onto the scene. Many anticipated a true speed machine, given its unique 2+2 layout, aggressive sports car body, and that special high-revving, naturally aspirated 1.3-liter Wankel rotary engine, an evolution of the twin turbocharged RX-7 unit. The RX-8 indeed boasted 190 horsepower, but possessed limited torque of just 220 Newton-meters, a characteristic of most rotary engines. This translated to a 0 to 100 kilometers per hour time of 7.0 seconds. While a fantastic driver's car with exceptional balance, its straight-line punch didn't quite match its audacious looks. The Mitsubishi Eclipse Spider GS, emerging around 2006. This convertible was not as swift as its aerodynamic body or low, wide stance suggested. While most previous Eclipses could manage the 0 to 100 kilometers per hour sprint well under 8 seconds, the added heft of the Spider GS meant its 147 horsepower 2.4-liter engine only managed it in 8.9 seconds. Though the GTS trim offered a more brisk 210 horsepower and a faster 6.7-second time, the base Spider GS was a classic case of show, not quite go. Honda's CRZ, introduced in 2010, appeared to herald a classic CRX revival. The sloping roofline, broad appearance, and low center of gravity were all present, streaming sporty hybrid. Sleek. However, unlike the CRX's 160 horsepower, 1.6-liter VTEC engine, revving to 8,000 revolutions per minute, the CRZ opted for a 1.4-liter hybrid powertrain, producing just 122 horsepower. While never quick in a straight line, Honda had blessed the CRZ with a stiffer McPherson strut and rear torsion beam suspension, making it a genuine pleasure to pilot through the curves. In 2011, the striking Fisker Karma arrived, courtesy of Henrik Fisker, the designer behind the BMW Z8 and Aston Martin Vantage. Its bonnet was long, it was wider than a Ferrari 360, and its body was sculpted like an Aston Martin Rapide, suggesting capabilities of 300 kilometers per hour and beyond. Beneath the grand exterior, however, resided a 260 horsepower 2.0-liter range extending engine and two 204 horsepower electric motors driving the rear wheels. This meant the Karma, on battery power alone, took 8.0 seconds to reach 100 kilometers per hour. A true visual supercar that prioritized luxury and eco-consciousness over raw pace. Finally, from 2012, the Toyota GT86. Upon its debut, it garnered immense praise for its lightweight chassis, rear-wheel drive, and perfect 50-50 weight distribution. It truly looked like a proper sports car, with aggressive front headlamps, a ground-hugging stance, and a sweeping roofline. The 2.0-liter boxer engine produced 200 horsepower and 205 newton-meters of torque, having only 1,239 kilograms to move. Yet, the GT86 hit 100 kilometers per hour from a standstill in 7.7 seconds. Opting for the automatic version meant a rather uninspired 0 to 100 kilometers per hour time of 8.2 seconds. While a brilliant driver's car for its balance and feel, it left many wanting more punch from its visually dynamic package. And also from 2012, Hyundai introduced the Veloster. It aimed to compete with the popular Volkswagen Scirocco, sporting an unconventional, rakish coupe design with a unique three-door layout. Despite exhibiting minimal body roll, excellent grip, and superb handling, its 1.6-liter engine sent only 140 horsepower to the front wheels, achieving 100 kilometers per hour in a leisurely 10 seconds from a standstill. While Hyundai later introduced a turbo version, boosting output to 185 horsepower, the 100 kilometers per hour sprint still took an unremarkable 8.4 seconds. So there you have it, a collection of cars that for various reasons visually overpromised on their performance. From the elegant curves of the Karmann Ghia to the futuristic lines of the Fisker Karma, these vehicles prove that beauty is indeed in the eye of the beholder, but speed is in the numbers. Yet, despite their often modest acceleration, many of these machines earned a special place in automotive history, beloved for their style, their handling, or simply for daring to look like something more. They remind us that the joy of driving isn't always about outright velocity. Sometimes it's about the feeling, the aesthetic, or the sheer audacity of design. If you enjoyed this deep dive into deceptive designs, please give this video a like and tell us which of these cars surprised you the most, or if there's another looks fast, isn't fast contender you think we missed in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the weird and wonderful world of cars. Catch you next time.
Take the meat.